Sheriff Joseph Pinto here with the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office. Unfortunately, I'm here to announce the arrest of two of our officers tonight. We're arresting Isaac Hughes and Jonathan Lewis, two of our members that were involved in the deputy-involved shooting from last week.
Hey everybody, John Van Dyke here for New Jersey Exposed. Today is Monday, February 28th, 2022. Time is 4 p.m. Yes, Jersey time, no other time, and...
I hate my tiny basement, but with Realtor.com's
Really?
3D tours, I can explore new homes virtually.
What the hell is this?
My new home. This is the best.
All right, anyway, that was funny. A little pop-up came up. All right, so we have another story here. It has to do with body cameras. Once again, a camera has taken down bad cops. This by far is our greatest weapon against cleaning up all these bad cops and ridding our society of them, changing the culture of law enforcement if that's even possible. But cameras is the way to go. Time and time again, it's the camera that is exposing them. And that all started back in the 90s with the Rodney King. I know some of you out there might not be old enough to remember, but somebody with one of those big old VHS video cameras, I think it was, caught the LAPD beating the crap out of them. And even then, they still didn't get in trouble back then. They still made a way for them to get out of it. But, you know, for many years, the cops all lied and said, well, you know, he was resisting arrest. And they would believe everything the cop said. And the victim would be saying, wait a second, they beat the crap and they broke my jaw. You know, no, it didn't work that way. We have several officers gave testimony, and that's not what happened. So now we've all come to learn through cameras have proven that these cops lie. They lie and they lie and they lie and they cover for one another. And I don't know what more to say about it other than that we know that they lie. And we know that they hurt people. And we know that many of them are stupid and don't have a very high intelligence level. Okay, so this story here is on NOLA.com, and this is dated February 22nd. Reads as follows. In-body cameras, first big test, 2 Jefferson deputies arrested for killing man in SUV. Now imagine this, I haven't read the full story, but I did read some of it. Imagine if there was no camera. And they shoot this guy and they say, well, we fear for his safety. He was reaching for something. You know that's what they would have said. But of course, as we know, the camera does not lie. Police officers lie. And here's the headline right there. See if we can get that without any glare going on there. There you go. Cover up my ugly face. There you go. Okay. I guess this is the victim right there. He must be a bad guy because he's got tattoos, right? They see tattoos on anybody but themselves. They fear for their lives. And I'm going to tell you a real quick story. I got a job at Lowe's a couple summers ago, just a summer job. And I saw a guy, while I was doing the video, they make you watch 100 videos. So you got to answer questions about their policies, their propaganda. And there was a guy that came in, had tattoos all over him. He had a nose ring and everything. But he was very soft-spoken. I thought, first thing in my mind was, you know what, this guy must have just got out of prison. He went through anger management. But I was wrong. He had nothing to do with prison. He happened to be one of the nicest guys working there, and he turned out to be a good friend of mine while I was working there. Whenever I run into him, which is frequently, we always smile, a handshake, and have a nice conversation. So you can't judge somebody based on tattoos. And that's a lesson for me to have learned. Not that I need to learn it, but you can't always judge somebody by the book or by the tattoo. Yeah, I know somebody said, well, Gunnison, you talked about the police officers having tattoos on one arm. Well, they're gang members, okay? We all know they're gang members. Just 5 days after Jefferson Parish Sheriff's deputies wearing new body cameras shot and killed a man in Marrero, the 2 officers have been fired and arrested on manslaughter charge. Now, the big story here, besides the guy getting shot and killed by these 2 thugs, is that they've been immediately fired. None of this, let's have a discussion, a 20-panel gang member discussion, see if there's evidence to, fire them, and let's put them on paid vacation for a couple months till we figure out how to rewrite the narrative. None of that. It was the first major test of technology's capabilities for the sheriff's office, and it resulted in Isaac Hughes, 29, again, under 30, should not be hiring anybody under the age of 30 to be a police officer. And I stand by that. And it resulted in Isaac Hughes, 29, and Jonathan, it's Johnaton, so that could be Jonathan or Jonathan Lewis, 35, surrendering themselves to fellow officers on Monday. They are thought to be the first Jefferson deputies to face criminal charges for killing someone. Bond for each was set at $150,000. Wow. Must be something really egregious for putting that kind of bail on them. All right, there's the heroes' faces. Take a good look, bootlickers. Love to hear your point of view on this. I wonder how many awards these heroes have while they were out protecting and serving the government. Hughes and Lewis are accused of using unjustified deadly force when they shot and killed Daniel Valley, a 34-year-old homeless man whom they encountered while responding to a noise complaint about a crack house. They found Valley sitting in an SUV, but he refused their entreaties to get out. Well, once again, there's no bad situation the heroes can't make worse and will make worse. What was a noise complaint now turned into manslaughter. Barely 12 minutes into the confrontation, one of the deputies opened fire at the Valley, honked his vehicle horn. Well, you spooked the cop. You know they're all fearing for their lives. The other fired... This reminds you, you see birds out in the field, and one bird gets spooked and takes off, so the rest of them just take right off. And there might be one bird that sits around and looks to see what's going on before he takes off. So authorities have not said which deputy fired first, but one fired and then the other one fired in response. Their perception was that their life was in danger at that point in time. Well, their life is always in danger because they've made so many enemies out there. And I'm not talking about the people they have arrested. I'm talking about the people they might be arresting. Because everybody's seen what thugs they are. I know some of you cops out there are going to get mad. We're not all like that. No, you're not all like that, but you all seem to condone it, don't you? I don't know what it is. I don't want to say you hired a bunch of wussies, but maybe the cops are so scared now because they realize that there's so many, maybe these cops realize there's so many bad cops out there making their job even more dangerous that they're all fearing for their lives. Valley's relatives, their perception was that their life was in danger at that point in time. Unfortunately, the use of deadly force in the situation was not justified, Lapinto said. So I had a feeling these cops were having tunnel vision. They probably were scared to begin with when they were confronting him. And this is what happens. They lose their situational awareness. Valley's relatives question why the officers weren't facing a second-degree murder charge more serious than manslaughter. Well, come on, people. You know how it is. Well, I got a feeling maybe they're doing the manslaughter because it'll be easier to prosecute as opposed to murder, where they'd have to prove that these cops used malice in what they did. We're not happy. At least they're charged at this point, says Tara Phillips, 47 Valley's on. Well, charging and convicting are two different things, people, which is what I've learned, that there are many officers out there that get charged and few that get prosecuted and go to jail. Community activists who have accused the sheriff's office of excessive and deadly force, especially against black people, have long pushed for the agency to begin using body-worn cameras. Michelle Charles, a lawyer who organized a series of demonstrations outside the sheriff's office in 2020, lauded the criminal charges against Hughes and Lewis, but she and others could not help but note that the victim in the case, Valley, is white and the accused deputies are black. Well, I suspect that maybe the victim is bigger than him and he had tattoos, and maybe the victim didn't show any fear. There was no fear in his eyes when he was dealing with these police, and thus the police could not intimidate him. Valley was shot February 16th at about 2:15 a.m. in the 500 block of Wilson Street. Deputies found him sitting inside a sport utility vehicle that relatives said had been loaned to him by a friend, in which he sometimes slept. See, being a homeless person, the biggest thing that you have to worry about is the police. It's not somebody else hurting you. There's not somebody breaking in your car while you're sleeping or wherever it is that you're sleeping. It's the cops you have to worry about more than anything. He was unarmed. Initial toxicology results showed several drugs in the system, Lopinto said. Deputies asked Valley to step out of the SUV, but he refused to cooperate with officers for more than 12 minutes. Not only did they ask him to get out of the vehicle, they begged him, they threatened him. Now, I'm surprised that, maybe these were two good cops, because I think other departments, they would just call the canine dog in and just tell them, look, you're either going to get out of the car, or we're going to let the dog rip you up, and you'll have to get lots of stitches. It's funny. It's, I want to say no good deed goes unpunished. So maybe these cops are being good. They were trying to not be in a big hurry, because we always know the cops are in a big hurry for some reason. Big hurry to go nowhere. And these cops, begging them, please, come on, just get out of the truck. And guy hits the horn and they blow him away. So you want to say the cops, probably based on what I'm reading here, the cops are doing a good job up to the horn went off and the cops got spooked. Let's see. Valley turned off the SUV's engine, locked the doors, but at some point he restarted the engine, causing several deputies to draw their weapons. Considering he was about to drive off, Lopinto said, of the two deputies who eventually fired, one stood at the front of the Valley's SUV, the other stood at the side. Valley dropped his hands, hit the vehicle's horn. That horn, whether it scared my deputy or whether my deputy reacted to the shot of horn, he ends up firing his weapon, Lopinto said. Valley was hit by multiple bullets. He died at the scene. I'm telling you, people, you got to take the guns away from them. Just give them pellet guns. Pellet guns and stun guns. That's all we should give them at this point. Or, I might be able to concede, all right, let's give them a gun, but a small, maybe a 22. We'll give them a 22 with just one bullet. Because it just seems like they just pull the trigger and let it keep firing. And well, Gunnison, they have a tough job. Shut up, you stupid bootlicker. Sick of you. Sheriff's Office investigators arrested Lewis and Hughes after reviewing the video and interviewing witness. The body camera video didn't contradict the deputies, Lopinto said. It actually backed their statements of what happened, but left in question their perception of the events. There was force that was certainly justified at this moment, but it wasn't deadly force. Both Lewis and Hughes were fired from the sheriff's office after their arrest. Lewis has been with the agency since 2020. So these are new cops. They only been in job a year and a half. Said Captain Jason Lavardi, a sheriff's office spokesperson. Before that, he was a patrol officer with the Gretna Police Department. Lewis, so he's got more than a year. Lewis joined Gretna as an emergency medical technician in 2012 and began attending the department's nighttime police academy. Deputy Police Chief Jason DeMarco said he graduated from the academy in 2013, joined the department Patrol Division in July 2014. Reached by telephone Tuesday, Lewis relatives said they were withholding comment until they can hire an attorney. Hughes had been with the Sheriff's Department since 2013, Lavardi said. He worked as a correctional officer at the jail until he joined the Patrol Division as a deputy 2 years ago. These two cops here don't have a whole lot of time behind their belt. Though the two deputies are booked with manslaughter, District Attorney Office must still review the case and make a formal charging decision. Prosecutors could file a bill of information charging Hughes and Lewis with manslaughter, which carries the maximum penalty. All right, you know what? I'm not gonna read the rest of this because it's just more blah blah blah. I think what happened here is tragic. I want to say, based on what I'm reading here, I don't think the cops set out to hurt this guy. if they were begging him in 12 minutes trying to get him out of the car, that's not demeanor. That's not like the typical demeanor that I see where, what's going on here with the light? There we go. The typical demeanor where these cops are trying to escalate and hurt somebody. I think they just reacted. One made a bad decision, the other followed in line with it, and here we are. So I suspect that this is not going to go the full length. I got a feeling qualified immunity is going to kick in on this one, and I don't know. I think the cops to be charged with stupidness. I don't think they set out to kill anybody. I think they just got there, made a bad decision, and here we are with a dead man. And I'm going to go on record and saying, somebody said that I tend to be fair, and I try to be fair, okay? See both sides. Try not to push my agenda to allow that to influence my decision. I try to be fair and balanced and weigh everything out and look at all the evidence presented to me. I want to say that I don't think these cops should be charged with murder or manslaughter. At this point here, I think they should be fired, and a civil lawsuit will happen, and that's that. So it was just a stupid decision. That's a tough one. I'm not a legal scholar, so I don't know how to answer. That would be one for Matt Tim to talk about. Maybe Matt Tim will read the story and weigh in on it. Who knows? I'll try to encourage him, see what happens. He's a busy man, but I don't know. My gut instinct is that I don't think these officers acted with malice. I think they just got scared. They were scared to begin with. They got spooked, and the end result. And if people listen, if my policy were followed, where they only got a 22 caliber gun with one bullet, that man might be alive, okay? All right, this one I really would like to know what everybody thinks about it. I'd like to hear your point of view on it. I know some of you out there are going to say, fry the bastards, but come on. Try to be fair and try to be balanced with the whole thing, all right? I'm John Van Dyke for New Jersey Exposed. Until next time, people.